Mortarion, Demon Primarch of Nurgle and Lord of the Death Guard, is a figure of immense power and tragic history within the Warhammer 40k verse. His presence on the battlefield is a harbinger of disease and decay, a testament to the corrosive influence of Nurgle, and a chilling reminder of the fallibility of even the Emperor's chosen sons. This comprehensive deep dive will explore the multifaceted aspects of Mortarion, from his origins on the grim world of Barbarous to his current reign as a formidable force in the galaxy. We will examine his background, motivations, war gear, and his role within the Death Guard and the wider tapestry of the 41st millennium. Greetings all, I'm your guide, the Archivist. Today I will dive into an overview of Mortarion, their rise to power, and their final fate. Before we begin, please make sure to like the like and subscribe waypoints down below, so that more people can learn from the archives. To truly understand Mortarion, one must delve into the horrors of his upbringing on Barbarous. This world, perpetually shrouded in a toxic fog and ruled by cruel overlords, shaped the Primarch into the figure he would become. Barbarous was a world of perpetual twilight, where the lower reaches were choked with deadly mists and monstrous creatures, whilst the mountain peaks were the domain of warlords who held court in fortified citadels. These overlords were powerful psykers who thrived in the suffering of humanity. Mortarion was found as an infant by one of these warlords, who saw potential in the child and raised him as his own. He was subjected to brutal training and forced to endure the harsh realities of Barbarous. A warlord, who remained unnamed in most accounts, was a cruel and tyrannical figure who saw Mortarion as a tool to further his own power. He taught Mortarion not just the art of warfare, but also the importance of survival at any cost. However, even in this oppressive environment, Mortarion developed a sense of justice and compassion. He saw the suffering of the human population and yearned to free them from their overlords. He began to secretly train and arm the oppressed, teaching them to fight back against their oppressors. This rebellion gained momentum, attracting more and more followers to Mortarion's cause. The conflict escalated into a long and bloody war, with Mortarion leading the human rebels against the psychic overlords. He learned to fight in the toxic environment of Barbarous, developing a resistance to poisons and diseases that would later serve him well. Despite his growing power and following, the warlord who raised him always remained beyond his reach, protected by powerful psychic barriers that Mortarion could not overcome. This unachievable goal and pent-up rage would simmer in his soul, ultimately predisposing him to the temptations of Nurgle. These details of his early life are crucial to understanding his later decisions. The arrival of the Emperor of Mankind on Barbarous marked a turning point in Mortarion's life. The Emperor, recognizing Mortarion's strength and potential, offered him command of the Death Guard Legion, one of the original 20 Space Marine legions created to unify humanity under the banner of the Imperium. Mortarion accepted the offer, seeing it as an opportunity to finally rid himself of his tyrannical adoptive father. With the Emperor's help, he confronted the warlord and, after a grueling battle, finally defeated him. However, the manner of the victory left a lasting mark on Mortarion. He believed the Emperor had robbed him of his rightful triumph, denying him the satisfaction of personally ending the warlord's reign. This perceived slight, coupled with his inherent distrust of psykers, further fueled his resentment towards the Emperor. Mortarion moulded the Death Guard in his own image, emphasizing resilience, endurance, and a grim pragmatism. He instilled in them a disdain for psykers and a focus on attrition warfare. The Death Guard became known for their ability to withstand devastating attacks and their unwavering commitment to their objectives no matter the cost. They were masters of chemical warfare and sieges, slowly grinding down their enemies with relentless pressure. The seeds of Mortarion's fall to Nurgle were sown long before the Horus Heresy. His experiences on Barbarous, his resentment towards the Emperor, and his inherent distrust of warp-based powers made him susceptible to the temptations of the Chaos Gods. When Horus, the Emperor's favoured son, launched his rebellion, Mortarion found himself increasingly drawn to the promise of power and freedom offered by the traitorous War Master. However, it was the events surrounding the Warp Storm that later trapped the Death Guard fleet that ultimately sealed Mortarion's fate. As the fleet drifted through the warp, they were ravaged by a deadly plague that threatened to kill all on board. Mortarion, desperate to save his sons, made a pact with Nurgle, the chaos god of disease and decay. In exchange for the death god's survival, Mortarion pledged his allegiance to Nurgle, transforming himself and his legion into plague-ridden servants of chaos. The transformation was horrific. The Death Guard's armor became corroded and festering, their bodies bloated and riddled with disease. They became immune to pain and fatigue, but their minds were twisted by Nurgle's influence. Mortarion himself was transformed into a towering demon Primarch, his body warped by warp energy and disease. He became a living embodiment of Nurgle's power, spreading pestilence and decay wherever he went. The details of this pact highlight the desperate measures Mortarion took to save his sons. As a demon Primarch, Mortarion is a formidable force on the battlefield. He is incredibly strong and resilient, able to withstand even the most devastating attacks. He wields the Scythe of Silence, a massive weapon that reaps the souls of his enemies, and is surrounded by a cloud of noxious fumes and flies that spread disease and despair. Mortarion's presence on the battlefield is a demoralizing experience for the enemy. His mere presence can cause soldiers to succumb to disease and madness. He leads the Death Guard in relentless campaigns of attrition, slowly grinding down their enemies with overwhelming firepower and deadly plagues. His strategic focus is on spreading disease and weakening the Imperium. The details of his arsenal and abilities make him a terrifying opponent. Since the opening of the Great Rift, Mortarion has become an even greater threat to the Imperium. He has led numerous invasions, spreading influence across the galaxy. He has clashed with numerous Imperial heroes, including the Ultramarines Primarch Rabute Guilliman, in a series of epic battles that have shaped the course of the Indomitus Crusade. While Mortarion is undoubtedly a villain in the eyes of the Imperium, his motivations are far more complex than simple madness. He is driven by a deep-seated resentment towards the Emperor and a desire to liberate humanity from what he sees as the tyranny of the Imperium. He believes that Nurgle's gift of disease and decay is a necessary step in the process of breaking free from the Emperor's control. Mortarion sees the Imperium as a stagnant and corrupt society, clinging to outdated traditions and suppressing the natural cycle of life and death. He believes that Nurgle's influence can cleanse the galaxy, tearing down the old order and paving the way for a new, more resilient society to emerge. This twisted vision of liberation is what drives him to continue his relentless campaigns of conquest and decay. He truly believes he is saving people from what he sees as a worse fate. Mortarion is a tragic figure, a Primarch whose potential was tragically squandered by his experiences on Barbarous and his own internal demons. He is a powerful and formidable enemy of the Imperium, driven by a twisted sense of justice and a deep-seated resentment towards the Emperor. His legacy is one of decay and despair, a testament to the corrupting influence of chaos and the fallibility of even the Emperor's chosen sons. Understanding the details of his history allows for a richer appreciation, whether in narrative or on the tabletop battlefield, of this complex and imposing figure. He remains a significant and terrifying presence in the Warhammer 40k verse, a constant threat to the stability of the Imperium, and a symbol of horror that lurks in the darkness beyond. And so I have now covered the content for this video. If there's anything that has been missed, please share them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this content, please remember to like and subscribe waypoints down below. In the grim dark of the far future, there is only war.